game developers. Today we are going to be looking at the new game engine, GDevelop. Now, I discovered this game engine a while ago, and I have to say it is easy to use, it's free, and you can make a whole bunch of different kinds of 2D games on this. And I was very impressed. I think the people who developed this engine put a lot of thought into this, and I feel that there's a lot of educational value in this app. Now, as you can see, I'm on the website here, GDevelop.io. If you go into Google and you just type in GDevelop, you'll find it in the free in the search results. Pop up first. So now on the website we've got try it online, which you could try and make a game in the browser. However, I would not recommend that. I would recommend downloading the app so that you have all the files on your computer, so it's easy for you to access and easy for you to manipulate and change the files, and also follow the directory of your assets. So yeah, download it, make it easy for yourself. So now I would love to teach you guys how to use GDevelop. And in order to do that, I'm going to make a few of these GDevelop tutorials, and I will publish one every week. Today's episode, we're going to be looking at getting started with GDevelop. So downloading GDevelop. Then I'm going to show you guys how to create a new blank project. I will show you guys and teach you a little bit about how to navigate the interface, how to import free assets from the asset store, create a player character that can be controlled, and to create a platform for the character to run on and jump on and move about. Right, so first things first, you just go into the website. If we say Google, let's go to Google. So if you're in your browser, you just go to gdevelop.io, smack enter, and there you go. You're at the home page of the software. Then on the home page, you just hit download. It's going to bring you up to the second page. Now, the reason is you have to decide, are you going to download it for Windows? Are you going to download it for Apple? If you have the new Apple, the new Mac that runs on the M1 or the M2 chip, you have to download this version of GDevelop. Then this is for Linux and for Linux as well. I've got Windows, so I'm just gonna hit the Windows button here, and you download it, and then you just follow the prompts to install it onto your computer. Once you have finished installing it and you open it up, you're gonna see this screen. Here you will not have an account registered. You could create an account for yourself. I would recommend doing that and then logging in each time. So now here, get started. The first thing that you can do is you can follow a few tutorials about a few platformer games and so on that they've created, and to basically showcase what the engine is capable of. However, we are going to start building directly. So we want to have a blank screen, a blank project where we can create our own game. And then you can also explore games made by other people. If you click on this, you'll see there's a whole bunch of games here that has already been made by other people that you can go and have a look at, find some inspiration. So you can see all the different features and things that this game engine can do. But again, let's go back to get started. I'm going to go to create a new project. Now, they're going to give us a few templates here but I do not wish to use any of these templates. I want to start new, so I'm going to go here at the bottom right corner. I'm going to hit create a blank project. Right, now project name, I'm just going to call this tutorial game, and I'm also going to change the name in my directory, and I'm going to call it tutorial game. This is a game that I'm making to show you guys how to use GDevelop. Right, create project. Now we have a complete empty project. We have no objects. On the right is the objects. Here you will find all the assets that you're going to add to your game scene. On the left we have the properties. You will see once we've added an object to our object list, we will be able to access the properties of that particular object. For example, the player character, the platform, an enemy, the background, that kind of stuff. And then here we have our, you can go back to the home screen if you want, your untitled scene and your untitled scene events. Your events is where you're going to add all of the script that your game is going to run on. So first things first, let's add one object to our scene. Let's say add a new object. Now when you open this up for the first time, it's going to look like this. Now this is very handy if you want to add your own sprite. A sprite is basically an object that can be animated, right? And most of the objects in a two-dimensional game, a 2D game, is images, right? So you're going to have a lot of sprites. Here you have tiled sprite, which you use to create tiles for your platformer or your top-down dungeon crawler or whatever you're going to create. But I don't have any art for my game yet. I don't want to focus on creating sprites for the game. I want to focus on how to use GDevelop. Now GDevelop has made it very easy for us to use some of the assets that they have made freely available. So I'm going to go and click on Asset Store. When you go to Asset Store, you're going to get a whole bunch of assets that you can use that GDevelop has already made available to us for free. You know, that's amazing. They have really done such a great job to create the assets and made it, you know, available for free so that we don't have to spend a lot of time creating our own assets. We can just jump in and learn how to use code to run our game. So I've looked at these assets and I really like the Pixel Adventure asset. So if we click on Pixel Adventure, there's 80 assets that they have made available that follows the same art style, the same art style. Let's just stick with the art style. So now let's say the first thing that we want to do, if I go back to my plan, is create a new blank project. We've downloaded the game, we've created a new blank project, we've navigated the interface a bit. Now we are going to import free assets from the asset store, but we want to create a player character that can be controlled. So let's go and do that. So now by scrolling through the Pixel Adventure assets, I'm going to choose one of the characters they've got here as the player character. Now I would recommend stick with either Mask Dude, Ninja Frog, Pinkman or Virtual Guy, just because I think the person who made these assets intended for these 4 characters to be player characters. And the reason I think that is because all of these 4 characters have 7 animations. So for example, if I click on Mask Dude, I will open it up and you can see here's the idle animation. So this is what it's going to look like when he's just standing in one place. He's not moving about. But I can also see the run animation. So this is the animation that will display when the character is running. Let's look at jumping. It's going to look like this. If he falls. So all of these animations is already part of the Mask Dude asset. So I'm going to use Mask Dude as my player character. So I'm going to say add to scene. Now it's importing the object. I'm going to say close. Now you can see on my object list, we can see there's Mask Dude. Mask Dude is there. That means he is an asset that we can use in our game. So I can drag him into my scene. By the way, this square here is our camera square. So if I hit the preview button here to take a look at my game so far, we can see that we have Mask Dude and he's just kind of floating there. And if I press the arrow keys, nothing happens. He isn't moving, he's not doing anything except the animation keeps playing. So we need to change that. So if I click on Mask Dude, now we can see there's some properties that opens up here. For now, we are just going to ignore this and we're going to keep the properties as is. But I'm going to double click. I'm going to double click on Mask Dude. And then I'm going to open this up. These are all his animation properties, right? So we can see his idle animation is here. The run animation is here. The jump, the fall, being hit by an enemy, an obstacle, and so on. But what I'm really interested in is going to behaviors. And you can see the behavior of this object is blank. Now what the behavior does is it adds code that has already been made, created by somebody else, so that we can manipulate this object in a certain way. So I'm going to go to add a behavior, and I'm going to say, okay, now we have a list of behaviors here that somebody else has already made. You can see here, installed behaviors. I'm going to say this is a platformer character because I want to make a platformer game, right? So I'm going to click on platformer character. Now I've added that behavior to my object. Here's a list of variables and things that you can change in your game. For example, the gravity, the jump speed, max falling speed. You can experiment with that if you want. Also, I would like to mention that here's a tick box for default controls. Now, this is our player character. So I'm going to keep this tick box because I want to be able to control this object using the keyboard or mouse. And then I'm going to say apply. Right, so now if we go to preview to see what our game does, let's see what happens. And as you can see, Mask Dude just disappeared and he just fell out of screen. Now the reason for that is we have our player character now, but he doesn't have a platform to stand on. So now we need to go and add a platform. So I'm going to go to add a new object. Click on add a new object. Now we've already opened up Mask Dude. I know it might be very tempting to choose any of these, but we don't want to use them. I'm going to hit back button so I can go back to my Pixel Adventure assets, and now I'm going to choose a platform. Now as you can see, here's a block. There's some animations for this block. Maybe I won't use the block. Let's see, what else do we have? We have a box. We have okay, we have another box. We have a platform. I think this one can rotate. A falling platform. But you know, let's go with block. That's fine. We're going to use block. And I am going to say add to scene. Close. Now we have a block here. I'm going to add this block to the scene. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to double click on it. I'm going to go to behavior, add a behavior, and I'm going to say this block is a platform, right? It's a platform. It's like the floor for the character. Double click on platform. Ledges can be grabbed. You can select or deselect it. I'm just going to keep it like this. Actually, I'm going to deselect it. And I'm going to say apply. Now, if I play my game, wow, my character, he's on the block. But can you see there's a bit of a problem because there's a gap between my character and the block. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to double click on the block again. I'm going to open up, I'm going to say edit collision mask so we can see. As you can see, the collision mask for this block is not actually, it doesn't actually fit the box, right? So we need to change that. We need to fix it. Otherwise it's a bug in the game. So I'm going to go here at the bottom, use a custom collision mask. And I'm just going to drag these 4 dots onto the corner of the block so that it doesn't look like my character is floating above the block. I'm going to say close, apply, and now if I say preview, now the character is on the block. Oh, that's amazing. Right, so now we can add some new blocks, or we can we drag this one out? We can drag it out, but that doesn't look nice. What I'm going to do, I'm just going to add a few more. I will show you in a later video how we can create a tile map so it's easy for us to design a level. But for now, let's just use these boxes. I wonder if okay. Let's create a bit of a platform. It's one way of doing it. It doesn't look very neat, but it will do for now. So if I preview, characters on the box, and I've already selected the character behavior so that it's a player character. So if I hit space, character is jumping, right arrow goes right, left arrow goes left. Now as you can see, the character, it looks like it's gliding across the floor, right? So we need to go and fix those animations, and we need to add a jumping animation, and we can do that in our next video. So let's go see if we have reached our objectives for today. We've downloaded GDevelop, we've created a new blank project, we've navigated the interface, we've imported free assets, yes, we've created a player character, and we've created a platform for the character to run on. And that is it, developers, for this episode. I will see you guys in episode number 2, where we will be looking at creating the animations for the character, as well as maybe adding some sound. Right, until next time, cheerio!